I know I skipped space, I'm gonna do them, don't worry, I just wanted to do LG first. With the relaunch of the PR universe, how does the monsters from Ginga Man stack up with the sci-fi theme? Surprisingly well. Do they get hindered? Yes. The Sunflower Search comes to mind, but the rest of the stories they came up with blend really good with being in a space station. It kept things confined. Monsters can come in and out, any issues with emblems could be wished away from another planet, and it allows certain things to come into play. You need a power-up, you need a weapon, it's on another planet or a monster stole them. The nature theme of Ginga Man helped in the abilities too. You're not stuck with just magical monsters. It went with some being ancient warriors, some based off vehicles, or a combination of the two. For what they had to work with, it's amazing how well things fell into place. Horn. I guess you could say he's the first monster threat the team had to deal with. Horn's a basic one, smuggler of weapons, the cliched trench coat. He fit into Resident Evil 4 easily. But it showed us that the Quasar powers aren't perfect. A lot of things actually show that. While the sabers were locked in a rock, various other things were left around exposed which got taken and abused, the Galactic Beast and the Transdaggers being the big ones. This is one reason why I liked LG's monsters over most. They've accomplished things behind the scenes before we got to meet them. You can believe they can hold up to the Rangers. If you can steal the Transdaggers, you can take on the Quasar Sabers. So the Rangers have to outsmart Horn in order to get them back. Also, with him melting down other weapons, that means the Transdaggers and the Sabers can be destroyed. They aren't magically indestructible. That would have been a nice episode. His design is not really amazing, some horns and spikes, which probably helps him go unnoticed, and the reason why he got the daggers in the first place. Gruncher. You can't say Lost Galaxy isn't imaginative when you have Mutiny's base be his main monster. It showed us how powerful Mutiny really was when Gruncher outbeasts all the monsters Trachina, Scorpius, and Deviant ever created up to this point, where the Rangers were in a do or die moment, which is why I wished Mutiny was a part of Trachina's forces early on, because he showed her up real easily. This one guy with a small group of monsters were able to bring the LG team to the brink. How do you fight Godzilla? It's one of PR's best moments that are in a season finale. It makes everyone work together, not just the Rangers, Terra Venture itself. Engines are badly damaged, they have to get out of the dimension. You think fighting this monster was a massive undertaking? What's Damon dealing with? The dude's torn in 50 million directions. The LG team had the same stakes as the space team had during Countdown. It's why I love Space, Galaxy, and RPM. They have no one to call for help but themselves, which in return makes the villains cocky. We took over hundreds of planets. What's a dome and a stupid space station gonna do? That's how Mutiny failed this one at the last moment. Quebec. You know you're bad when you hire goons to kill your boss. Great way the writers use the monsters to their advantage. In other seasons, you have to convince people working under Trachina to betray her. Then you have to figure out who fits into that, while not getting complaints from fans. Like, oh, Glitter would never do that. Here, Deviant's like, I'll call some friends. They even picked a good batch of monsters that fit the look of an assassin. Plus 2 that were not important footage-wise. You know, a lot of these monsters were basically doing the search for the lights in Ginga Man. You thought the Sunflower Search was dumb? These guys were looking in tomatoes and trees. So I'm glad they didn't do those episodes. This is what sucks when they don't make all the monster figures. It comes down to how much they sell, but Quebec, I really wanted his figure. His design is also similar to Samurai Fan Man, so he got classic MMPR vibes. Chilifish. The infamous horse one. LG was able to make these type of episodes more spooky. I think it's because it's such an advanced station and it still can't counteract a monster making people fall asleep. Plus it also reminds you of being in space. It's like a double whammy of, oh crud, these people could die. It's also because Chilifish generally felt imposing. A lot of these characters are based on samurai or Japanese folklore, so that gives them a presence. Plus, when it's a dramatic moment, they gave it tension. PR usually uses music so that scenes don't always creep you out. It's more bombastic and actiony. It's super rare when the music editors will let the scene play out on the visual only, which is a common issue in most of the modern seasons. There isn't quiet. The Rangers have to always say something or make a joke. You lose the tension. Kids can take tense moments. Silent Sleep is one of my favorite LG episodes. Chameleon. I love it when monsters can copy or steal Ranger powers. It's the obvious thing to do. Each Ranger has a style, a personality, which you can exploit. That's what made the Psycho Ranger arc. Not only this, Chameleon can copy Megazord weapons. The one thing I wish they had done was use the Megazord weapons in a Ranger fight or Ranger weapons in a Zord fight. Break that wall between the two. How would a Quasar Saber fare against a Galaxy Saber? Even keep this power through the season, where you use this to gather data on the Ranger, finally countering them. they always give up on these powers too easily once they figure out the flaw. This guy's an example of a not cool looking monster, but story and powers make him more potent. Magnetox. Why isn't this one of those common episodes? Almost every PR season has a body swap one, the Rangers not doing teamwork right, but burning out Morpher stories is really rare. But it's the obvious thing to attack on a Ranger. This is how you bring in a new character. We just lost Kendricks, everyone's sad and pissed off. You gotta win the audience back. Corona added an extra layer to this. She was a baddie, she had to prove that she belonged on the team. In the process, granted Leo his Battleizer armor. All this with a great monster of the week, good Battleizer story, redemption for Corona, and the Rangers losing their powers. This is perfect PR. Magnetox deserved a second episode. I'd love to have seen a story that would have expanded on his ability. Magnetox manipulates the Morphers, make them deadly to their user. How about the Morphers are corrupted? Instead of giving Ranger suits, it turns you into a monster. What about them being brainwashed? That would have been an interesting two-parter. The show needs more Magnetox. Skelecron. This guy's look, did he come out of a Zelda game? Even his ability is Zelda-like, trapping Rangers in mirror dimensions, then throwing out an evil version. The best part of his power, reflecting all of their energy back at them, you gotta be pretty strong to do that. He's limitless for an army. If Skelecron attacked a town or a city and absorbed the people, easy million army or an easy way to replace an entire population. It's possible his ability is what they use to create the Stingwingers, for example. It sucks when we get a monster with a cool power, but it gets thrown aside after one try. Build up this stuff, it doesn't hurt. Rykon. Oh yeah, this is a cruel episode. Rykon impersonating a friend that Maya knows, great plan. Maya, for all as she knows, is the last of her kind, and seeing someone from the planet survive gave her something Terra Venture couldn't. Hope. Maya and Kendricks became close friends, and this new person is taking her spot. So Kendricks feels somewhat jealous. They always butted heads. Maya's carefree, so she tends to do stupid things. Maya doesn't have responsibilities. Kendricks is the geologist/science officer for Terra Venture. She basically never gets free time. Put all these things together, it made Maya doubt her word while Kendricks was trying to be the voice of reason. This is not just a friendship problem. What happens if Maya shrugs off Kendricks during a disaster? People could die. That's what I like about Trakina. She wants the Rangers dead, but she wants everyone to hate them so they don't become martyrs. That's how you stop new Rangers. Make that team fall apart so people resent them and throw them away. This plan came really close to working. Loyax. I would say Loyax's last stand is probably the best story Power Rangers can do. Turning good to evil or evil to good. This one was more potent. Loyax had more honor than even Korag. Did horrible things, fought the Rangers, but he wanted them to finish him off. He didn't want to live on this disgrace. It's debatable. Could you stomach if you were the one that caused death and destruction? Loyax chose not to, but he wanted an honorable end, which tested the Rangers, specifically Maya. This is where the nuance of the writers come in. It's a depressing moment for any person to do this, but it's 1,000 times worse on Maya. She has no home, her people are potentially gone, and now she's asked to end someone? What if she's forced to face that in the future? It's a test if she can live with it or not. This is when PR goes above itself. As a kid, you love the action and story. When you get older, you realize it can touch on something more. That's how you do morals and the topic of gray areas right, not bash it on people's head. This episode aired 20 years ago. 20 years, and we see seasons like Ninja Steel. This is why I get mad. Destruxo. Number 1 goes to Destruxo. Out of all the nonsense surrounding the Lights of Orion, this guy handled it the best. It annoyed me that he was just a monster. He was easily better than most generals. The only two that are superior were Deviant and Villamax. Man, if he did all the plans, the Rangers would have so many problems. It felt like a waste they got rid of him. He's like, I need to capture the lights. I'll just make a dome to seal them in. Don't care about the humans, let them suffocate. He shrugs off failures. This plan didn't work, gotta do something else. Only fought the Rangers and the Magnet Defender when needed. The only thing that did him in was being tricked and taking the powers into himself. If he had just stayed focused with the Lights of Orion, he could have been the final boss. Lost Galaxy is an example that all seasons should strive for, but the way the writers developed the show, going, who cares that it doesn't take place in space, we're doing it, we're gonna use everything to get this to work, change things around, use the Sentai when we're low on budget, come up with a few new villains, and even worked in Valerie's condition without losing a beat. This is your blueprint. It works so well, they basically ripped it off in Lightspeed Rescue. It's not rocket science. What were your favorite monsters? New episodes Mondays, fan commentaries Tuesdays. Next week, we had the good, now I'm gonna do the bad. If you like my content, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Due to fair use abuses from the various companies, I no longer feature footage from the various episodes. Thank you for understanding. See you in the next video.